to episode 12, Teenagers on the Keto Diet. I am so excited to bring this episode to you. I've been talking about it a couple of times. My daughter, Jocey, is joining us on the podcast today.
Hi, everyone.
Jocey, tell us about yourself, like what year of school you are, how old you are, things like that, what you like to do.
I'm 16. I'm a young junior, so I'm going into my senior year after summer's over. I have a lot of hobbies. I love art and music, and just about everything. I'm also a swimmer, so yeah, I have a lot of hobbies that require me to have lots of energy and fuel.
Yeah, Josie is the firstborn child, and I think just naturally she's very driven. She's very passionate about a lot of things, creative and smart, and she's just an all-around one of the best teenagers you'll ever meet. I'm not saying that because I'm her mom, of course.
Of course not.
I do love this girl so much, but I've talked about her before on the podcast a few times because she does struggle with in the past she struggled a lot with depression and chronic migraines, which we thought are probably related, right? We talk about emotional pain affecting our mental pain and vice versa. I'm sorry, our emotional pain and our physical pain affecting themselves and vice versa. So tell us about that, Josie, like in the past, not recently since you've made these changes to your life, but maybe I think your sophomore part of your junior year, you were struggling a lot. How often did you get your migraines? How severe was the depression? What was your life like during that time?
Right. So with the depression, I think I would have like depressive episodes like maybe once or twice a month. And when I did get them, they'd last for a couple days. Same with the migraines, except I started to get them more often. With the migraines, I'd say like when I did get one, it lasted like, yeah, 4 days. And then I would get them pretty often, maybe like, yeah, once or twice a month. Um, and I think when I was kind of stuck in that rut, it was also like when I was depressed, I felt like, I don't know, maybe I deserved that. And, I got used to the pain. I got used to the pain. So feeling pain was normal for me, and I didn't really want to fix it necessarily.
Yeah, pain becomes really familiar. And so if you're not in pain, it's almost like, yeah, I don't want to be in pain, but also if I'm not in pain, then what's my identity? Who am I? And
Right.
what does
So
that
it
even look
really
like?
was like I was stuck in a rut.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. I think a lot of people can relate to that, Josie. And that's why I really wanted you on the podcast today because your story is so fascinating to me. And we're not at the end of your story by any means. You're only 16. And we have so much more to discover and figure out on your health journey. But what kind of things did you try? You said you didn't really feel like trying anything for your depression or migraines because you were just stuck. Did you ever try anything?
Right. So like a lot of times, I don't know. I tried antidepressants for a while, like a few years ago, but that just turned into the same thing. It was like I would take it and like just keep going with my life and not really find any natural and more healthy ways to fix it. And same with the migraines. Like I had my medicine, but I didn't even think about natural ways of solving that problem, like breathing and going into a dark room and space and just relaxing. Um, yeah, so that wasn't very healthy.
Yeah. So I think it's so true. Like when we get stuck, especially with depression, it's hard to bring yourself out of that rut and really try and find solutions for that because you're just so depressed, especially if your head is hurting too. You just want to stay
Yeah,
down in your
you get
bed.
kind of tired of thinking at that point. There's not really a lot you can do when you have brain fog and confusion, and you just want to give up on everything.
Yeah, I think at that point in your life, you were also struggling a lot with keeping up with school because you're missing a lot of school,
And friends
keeping up
too.
with friends. Yeah,
I push people away.
yeah. Yeah, so and then that just creates the problem, making it even worse, right? Like that is
Hmm.
more depressing when you're not hanging out with friends and not
Yeah.
keeping up on your
It
schoolwork.
was just like this endless loop. It was in a loop.
Yeah. Oh, being your mom is so hard to see you go through that too. But and we tried a lot of things. We did try a couple of different medications, I want to say, over the years, but they all had side effects. And like you said, they weren't
Hmm.
really making the problem go away. In fact, they created more problems.
Yeah.
I remember one of the side what I remember one of the side effects of one of the medications was suicidal thoughts, and I was like,
It's kind of defeating the purpose there.
yeah, why would we want
That's not what we want,
right,
actually.
that's like the opposite of what we're trying
Yeah.
to go for. And then another one, I remember you gained like 10 pounds in 1 month, and you were
Yeah.
like,
Like,
no.
I've been eating, like, the same as I'd been eating, exercising still, like, as much as I could, and, yeah, that didn't check out. I was
Yeah, I was
confused.
like, this is gonna make her more depressed if she's gaining 10 pounds a month.
Yeah.
So oh, it's been
No, thank you.
yeah, it's been a struggle. But what finally motivated you to look at changing some habits that you had? Specifically, you started exercising more, you started reaching out to more people, and you changed your diet. So let's talk about all of those things. Maybe we can talk about the diet a little more since that's what this podcast episode is about. But let's talk about reaching out to people and exercising first, just a little.
So, I think really, it's more like a chain reaction. If you, target, like, the root of that problem and just get down to, like, the very simple, basic habits in your life, it, like, sets off all these different, reactions. So, like when I decided to make a dietary change and I decided to exercise more, which both of those were very hard, especially as a teenager. I don't want to give up chips and chocolate and all of that. But after I did, it made it like 10 times easier to reach out to people because I had more energy. I felt more confident in my head. And with the exercise, I felt more like active with that. What is it? Endorphins.
Yeah, so you're saying like once you started one thing and noticed like some improvement and change, then and you started feeling better, then it was easier to exercise more, reach out to friends more. Like it just became all part of. So that's why it's hard to put a finger on what specifically worked,
Right.
but it was like all the things together
Mhm.
brought you out of the rut and more like into the light. And
Yeah.
I know that when we're looking at pictures of you in the past, and you've said like, oh, that was old Jocey, that was like the me that was sad all the time, and um not that didn't love myself as much, and now you've come into the light and you're um exercising. She goes to swim almost every day, and she's reaching out to a lot of friends. And let's talk about the diet that you've chosen to adapt. So John and I well, John started first, Josie's dad, Dr. Peterson, on the keto diet. And there's a Facebook video of him a couple years ago just drinking olive oil and telling people, like, hey, you got to just eat fat, drink oil, and so many of your symptoms will go away. And at that time, he threw out all his prescription medication, and he's like, I'm just going to take care of my health with my diet, with
Including
my
Lucky Charms.
yeah, he threw out all his Lucky Charms. Oh my gosh, there were so many Lucky Charms boxes that he had
Yay.
been stashing away to keep hidden from us. Oh, but he's made this amazing transformation. And then I thought, well, I'll give that a go too. And so I started the keto diet and I just felt so good. I mean, I lost the weight that I wanted, but I've just been feeling so good, so much energy. And then Josie, we were like, hey, do you want to try looking at your
Because like
diet?
some of my doctors have been mentioning an anti-inflammatory diet and that would really help, but I wanted to try basically everything before that. The diet was the last thing I wanted to try because I didn't want to change what I was eating. It felt too hard.
Yeah, that is so funny that you say that because I get that from so many people, not just teenagers, but grown adults that are like, oh, no, no, diet is the last thing I want to change because it's so hard. It's so much easier to take a pill or, just ignore the problem.
Mhm.
But yeah, your diet has so much impact on your health.
And a lot of people doubt diets as well because they're like, oh, I've tried it before, it didn't work because they weren't following it right. But it can be really helpful if you use it right.
Yeah, I think consistency is the key. So I'll talk about the keto diet briefly so people understand what we follow. So, and we're going to have a podcast in a little bit that's debunking a lot of the myths and answering a lot of the FAQs about the keto diet. So stay tuned for that in the future. But briefly, the keto diet is focusing on consuming high amounts of healthy fats. So, like the olive oil, avocado oil, avocados, nuts. It's moderate protein and very low carbs. So the science behind it is that your body, when you are eating a lot of fat, enters a state of ketosis that utilizes that fat, the fat that you're eating, and also the fat on your body as its primary fuel source. Right now, if you're not burning fat, you're burning carbs. So most of the world probably is burning carbs as their fuel source. So um, Jocey, tell us what you noticed in your body and your energy levels since you started the keto diet.
Um, I think okay, so first starting with like body physically, I feel a lot more lean and I feel a lot lighter inside. My energy levels, I've noticed that well, when I was on just the normal diet using carbs as energy, I could go for long amounts of time. But my energies on the keto level have just stretched so much. I have a lot more stamina for completing my just regular to-do list every day or some tasks or hobbies I want to get done. Um, my overall well-being, a lot less brain fog, which has to do with also the physical part and the having more energy. Um, I'm less confused about things, and so life just is. It seems so much more simple. Everything fits together.
Yeah, I've noticed you have a lot less mood swings too. It really does help balance like those hormones out. And
Mhm.
when we talk about diet, so often people think, oh, diet equals weight loss. Like if you're on a diet, it's because you're losing weight. And that's not what it is at all. This is, I mean, that is a natural benefit. Like if you have excess weight, you'll lose that. But like Josie said, just improving her mental clarity and increasing her energy and all of that. So having better blood sugar levels, like moderate blood sugar levels, a lot of times when we spike our blood sugar levels, that creates like a hormonal, like a mood swing sort of thing, like we call it. And also causes us to be more fatigued because when our blood sugar comes down really low after that spike of sugar, then we're really drained. So it's just a better way to stay like moderate, to stay right there in the middle. And as far as the depression goes, it's like beautiful for that because you're able to have like a much more stable mood, right? I mean, you still get happy and sad, but it's not like depressive and worrisome to the rest of us. So I think that's been a great benefit. And seeing you be able to like get up. What time do you get up for swim in the
Mhm.
morning now?
Sometimes it's 5, sometimes 5:30,
Yeah,
depending on the week. Yeah. I
yeah.
would say, like, overall, I've been happier, but again, like, happy has a lot of different, definitions. So I like my mom was saying, I would just say it's been less heavy and easier to handle.
That's awesome. So when you finally decided, okay, I'm going to give the diet a try and I'm going to do it and stay committed to it, I was like, okay, it was a lot for you to take in. And remember I said, let's just do it for a
sure.
month. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, let's just do a month, see how you're feeling.
After a month, I was hooked, of course. So
that's my trick.
They tricked me.
Yeah, but let's see how you're feeling. And then you did take a break at one time. I forget what it was for. Maybe we were on a vacation, or you just wanted to take a break in the diet.
Right.
And then you kind of like were like, I can't wait to get back on the diet because I feel so crummy right now. What were the challenges when you were transitioning into the diet? Okay, because you're a teenager. A lot of teens diets are pretty poor. I think yours was pretty good actually compared to a lot of teens that I know. But it was eliminating like boba, for instance, one of your favorite things to go with your friends. And I'm sorry. Yeah, it was one of your favorite things to go get boba with your friends, or you're dating now, and so much of dating is about like, let's go get ice cream.
Like,
or
they hear I'm on keto and it's like, oh, we can't go anywhere.
Right.
Which is a lie. You can, but
that is true. We'll get to that. We'll get to that lie, I think, for sure. But how did you choose to handle those situations?
Right, because there were definitely a lot. Challenges and difficulties. I think most of all, it was just when I was first transitioning over, your body goes through like this phase. Is it called keto flu?
Yep. And we should warn people that there is the keto flu where you're transitioning from carbs for fuel to fat for fuel.
It probably lasted like a couple days. It was sort of just like my body was kind of confused, and I was still craving some things, but craving some other things. And it was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, and keto flu can look different for everyone. Right, and so it's important to just realize like your body is changing its metabolic source.
Don't panic. It's supposed to happen.
You might feel sick for a day or even 3 days where it feels like you're losing energy, or you might just feel sick. That's totally part of it. But after that, how did you handle like social situations, like parties and dates, like you said? And do you have any tips for other teenagers?
Those were also difficult. I mean, it's really hard when like all your friends who are doing the same things as you, like swim team or music or whatever, hanging out together, and like they're all eating the same food, and you're like, oh, I can't, I choose not to have that.
Okay, that's a good tip right there. That's your mindset, right?
Right. So instead of saying, I can't have that, and people have sympathy for you, they're like, oh, that stinks. Like, I'm so sorry about that. Instead, you can say, I choose not to have that. I'm choosing to have this better thing that's good for me, and people are happy for you. Like, oh, that's so amazing. And they're inspired as well. I've had a few friends that are like, wow, that's so cool. Maybe I should, try something like that. And
oh, that's awesome. Like that mindset shift, like that simple switch, that one word, like I choose to eat this instead of I can't eat this.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I think that can apply to so many parts of our life, but definitely diet for sure. So when you go to a party and there's food there, what, like, do you just say, oh, no, thanks, I'm not eating that, and I choose not to eat that?
Most of the time there will be like something I can eat. Most of the time there's like something, unless it's all like junk food. Like I can have like a couple pieces of fruit, like that won't hurt. Drinks, I can have, ice and water, any sugar-free drinks. I try not to a lot, but
yeah. I noticed that like you can sometimes eat the toppings of a pizza, or like the pepperoni or the cheese off of a pizza.
A lot of times I'll just wait till I get home so I can have like an actual meal. I don't really get that snacky. Sometimes, but yeah, I
think if you are just like, okay, I'm going to the party to socialize, not so I can eat the food, and then you can like eat before, and then like, why are they all snacking? Well, they're just snacking because it's part of like their social habit. And that's not really.
If I'm going to eat, I kind of want to eat something at home that's good for me, that's going to be nourishing.
Yeah. And when you're using your food as like medicine, basically, is what you're doing. You're like, I just want to put good medicine in my body, because you also know the side effects if you choose to eat like a bunch of Skittles and licorice and popcorn. You're going to pay for it with migraines and bloating and all that nasty stuff that you don't like. So I think that's awesome. What how do you tell us how you like handle school, you know, because your school doesn't have, she goes to a small charter school, it doesn't have a
Right.
cafeteria, so she packs her lunch every day. Tell us how you manage that.
Yeah, which is helpful because I've gotten really used to packing my own food already. Um,
I know it's summertime right now and you're not in the packing my lunch for school mode, but I noticed like during school you would pack a lot of salads.
right. I already like salads before I started the keto diet, which is helpful. Lots of salads.
And we'd also do like factor meals. I think, I don't know
Yeah.
if I've mentioned Factor on the podcast, but it's a meal subscription and you can choose their keto options. Yeah, so she would just get up, warm up the meal. It's all fresh. It comes to your door fresh and they're pretty good. They're pretty delicious. And so she'd warm it up in the microwave in the morning, put it in a thermos, and take that to school. And they're super filling
hmm
too and super delicious. So
And all my teachers and stuff were very supportive as well because a lot of them are very knowledgeable with like health and things regarding like well-being and how to take care of yourself because it's a pretty competitive school, like academic wise. Um, so they were all really supportive and yeah.
that's awesome. So the keto diet, you have school, like you pack your lunch for school. We eat a good breakfast usually every morning, but you kind of found that like you weren't really that hungry in the morning a lot of times
Yeah, that was
because
another interesting thing. Like on the keto diet, I could go longer in between meals. I wouldn't get hungry in between meals, and sometimes I wouldn't even like be that hungry for breakfast. I would just, I could also pay attention to my digestive system more and focus on like when I was actually hungry versus when like, oh, everyone else is eating, so I should eat something.
that's awesome. You're so intuitive that way. And I think
Yeah.
it really requires that if your teen is considering the diet, or if you are a teen considering the keto diet, that you really do need help with it because it's not an easy diet to just transition and do that on your own. It's really good to have some sort of support, a coach, or some sort of program to help you stick with it, to get on it and learn about it and stick with it and overcome some of those obstacles you have, like how am I going to manage, you know, my extracurricular activities? How am I going to manage if I get asked out on a date? How am I going to, you know, take care of my needs and also go to work and do homework and all of that stuff? It's quite the balance, and you really can disrupt your whole system if you do try and do the keto diet and also you're um, sneaking in like carbs, like, you know, chips or
Yeah, that's really not gonna work.
boba or ice cream. Yeah, that's really going to mess up your
I've tried
system.
it. Like a little I'm like, "Oh, a little bit wouldn't help." Like
Yeah.
I'm not following the keto diet like strictly with the percentages and all that. I'm trying to with the mostly fat and then protein and greens and um but I was like, "Yeah, a little bit wouldn't hurt." I had one cookie, like this tiny little cookie. It was so good. I It might have been worth it, maybe not, I don't know. But the next day I felt so sick and I got a headache and it was like, wow, yeah, just the
Yeah.
one thing.
So I think when you're really paying attention to your body when you're hungry, like those hunger cues, and what, like, listen to what your body wants, what you're craving. When you're on the keto diet, you really crave the fuel that you need. So like you crave fat. And it takes a while. Like you do sometimes at the beginning crave carbs still because
Mm,
that's our natural go-to that we've been doing our whole lives. But when you really are into the diet and you've been consistent and you're paying attention to your body and your cues, it's so much easier to just
yeah.
say, hey, food is medicine. This is how I want to feel.
Like,
Therefore,
luckily, at a certain point, you stop craving, like, bread and you stop craving, sugar and popsicles as much. That's a really good thing.
good. Okay. Well, Another question I wanted you to answer for us is, have there been people that have given you like criticism or told you like,
Actually, yeah.
okay, and how did you handle that?
Um, Actually, my best friend at school, we were sitting in class one day, and I told her I'm on the keto diet like a couple weeks ago, and she said, "So, are you like strictly following the keto diet, or are you just eating keto-friendly foods?" And I told her what like I'd been doing, what I plan on doing, and she goes like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm so glad you're not following it very strictly because my grandma says that it can like get you in the hospital and like get you in a really bad place." And I'm like, keto, really? Like, and you've talked about it with lots of different people? And she says, yeah, like they've all tried it and said it was very bad, but you know.
Yeah, again, a lot of people that have failed on it, it's because they got to that keto flu and they thought, oh my gosh, I'm dying, something's wrong, and they didn't go all the way through the keto flu and get into ketosis, or they were,
Because that can be a very confusing time.
yeah, that is, or they can be not following the diet exactly, and so yeah, it makes them sick. It could
Yeah,
cause like
yeah.
internal
Which
issues
is
and
what
stuff like that.
probably happened. And
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I hear people saying criticism about the keto diet, I think, well, it's a lot better than eating packaged chips and Oreos and soda and the typical like American teenager diet.
things that aren't really food.
Yeah, things that are made in a factory or have like a zillion weird ingredients on the back. It's definitely because like you could also do another anti-inflammatory diet and it would probably be just as good. But all of
Mhm.
them are going to have the same thing in common, which is eliminating processed foods. I think the keto diet has the benefit of reducing your cravings for carbs, though, because when you crave carbs, sometimes you're just
Right.
like, I just want carbs. I don't care what it is, if it's cookies or chips or whatever. And so when
Mhm.
you're on the keto diet, you're just like, you're fuller longer, like what you had said about breakfast and not really needing snacks because you just are so full from all the fat, but also that you're not craving all those carbs that can kind of get in the way of your goals. So, answer this: Are you thinking that you're going to continue the diet, or are you thinking you might try
Yeah,
something else?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I've grown really fond of it, and I think it's definitely given me a lot more benefits than problems. And I'd like to continue it in the long term. It might be kind of hard when if I go on a mission, because a lot of times we don't get to choose what we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're definitely on a budget, and good food costs more money here, at least. So yeah, I'd like to, but we'll see.
Yeah, that reminds me actually that you did just go to girls' camp and we reviewed
Right.
the menu ahead of time. This might be a really good tip for some people,
Hmm.
but we reviewed the menu ahead of time and I helped you circle the things that you could eat for that day. And then we just supplemented with, you brought up your own salads and your
Hmm.
own cheese and that sort of thing. Jocey loves making her own vinaigrette dressing. She's really
Hmm.
good at it. Actually, she's getting really good at cooking. She made a broccoli cheese soup last night that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
amazing.
Do we
But
have any more?
yeah, we have some more.
Nice.
um, but girls' camp was so good, and she came home feeling so good, except for that one little cookie she ate. But you actually had people saying, "Oh, that was such a good idea. I wish I had brought my own food." You had a lot of
Yes,
support.
yeah. Because the food there, I mean, it was really good for like feeding all these girls, but it was also like, one of the nights was just like nachos, so it's like chips and then you put stuff on top of it. Not a lot of fuel, especially since we had a hike the next day. Um, yeah, so it was kind of, it's always a little bit embarrassing to bring like your own stuff. Like I brought an ice chest, and it's a little hard to stand out, especially for teenagers. We do not want to stand out.
Yeah.
Um, but like once it was there, I was so grateful that I brought it because, I had so much good food with me.
Yeah, and something I find you repeating to yourself, which I think is awesome, is it's only awkward if you make it awkward.
Yeah.
I think that can apply to so many situations. And now that you're dating too, you found so many places that you can go and order keto friendly foods and be able to still like go and socialize and hang out. And you've also told your friends like, hey, if you're going out to ice cream, like I'd still love the invitation to come. Or if you're going out to boba, like even if I don't get one, I'd still love to come and hang out with you.
Good communication is important.
Yeah, definitely. Jocey, I ask all of my participants on the podcast, all my guests, one question, and that is, what is your why? And I really want you to think about, and I'm sorry I didn't prepare you for this ahead of time, but think about you when you were really in the thick of like the depression and the headaches and not feeling great. What have you found now that's your why that keeps you going, like keeps you continually exercising and having this good solid diet and taking care of yourself and reaching out to friends? Like what's your motivation for that? Why do you do it?
I'd say definitely, just I feel better mentally and physically when I'm on it. It's not just helping one, it's helping both. And life's become so much more clear and obvious with like getting rid of the brain fog. It's just been incredible. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah.
Jocey, thank you so much for joining us today. I've seen that, you didn't mention this in your why, but I see that you get up every day and you just like explore the world. Like you love the world and seeing what you can learn and do and who you can serve. And I just love that about you. And I see that that's increased so much over the last couple years since you've really started taking the initiative to take care of yourself. And I just love you so much. And I'm so glad you're my daughter. And thank you so much for sharing this with us today. I think this will help a lot of people, a lot of teenagers probably as well. And that they're going through such similar things. And just to know that there's more to life than what you're dealing with right now. And you have so much more power to take care of your mental and physical health than what you realize. You really do. Feel free to reach out to me or Jocey at any time. The links are in the bio. You can also, if you're interested, sign up for the Fat to Fuel program. That will really help your whole family, if you're all interested, or just your teen or you, to get into ketosis. But you also have a coach. You have me that we can coach one-on-one and really answer problems and get that mindset shift.
And for any teens that want to try it, I do promise it gets better. It does get better. So
yeah, keep going. Whatever your goals are, just keep going. And we are here to support you and love you through it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. I hope you found value in what you heard today. If so, please follow us and go give us that 5-star rating. It really helps us reach more people that need to hear this message. Also, if you're ready to make changes to your health and well-being, go check out our Fat to Fuel program. Our coaching program empowers you to make healthy changes to your life one step at a time. Go to fattofuel.com or click the link in the show notes. We hope to see you there.